guys.
Well, I mean, hey.
Yeah, 1 week off for that.
Hello.
What is that joke? What is that recurring joke?
I don't know.
Where we just start every show going, well, and then we always morph it into, come back to Crucible Radio. It's not even good.
So yeah, it's not a good joke.
Yeah.
Every time I hear it, I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
I still don't always do it. I just don't know why or if it's worth it.
I definitely always think I should stop it when we're doing it.
Every time we do it, we're like, this has got to be one too many times. I think that's true.
Anyways, you're listening to Crucible Radio, the show for all things Destiny 2 PvP and such, like intro and recurring joke analysis. Thank you for tuning in.
My favorite part of Crucible Radio is intro.
My favorite is intro when we have no intro.
Yes, intro question mark? Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, to explain that intro, based on this audio track alone.
I feel like I should stop you from explaining.
Yeah, that doesn't.
We're coming up on minute 42. But our conversation started before that.
It's often that we finish the podcast and I'm like, how is it 1:30 a.m.? What?
Yeah.
What have I been doing for 3 hours essentially?
Well, and I also feel like we've done a few Saturday night recordings as of late, which is what we're doing now, and there's that less sense of urgency, less like I just got home from work, let's get going kind of thing, and now it's just like I got nothing else to do tonight.
I'm getting home from my longest day of work.
And all you want to do is talk to us.
So much easier for me.
Yeah. Well, I think, thank you guys for your flexibility. Yeah, I think the reason we've been recording on Saturday is because I have been out of town for the past 2 weeks. I leave on Monday.
Get to that,
I come back on Friday. No, this is it. This is me getting to it.
We don't need your travel update. You're going to talk about it later. In the
Birds
episode.
is back in town.
We used to do that a lot. We used to talk a lot about Birds' travel. That used to be like a theme.
That's another thing every time inside, I'm like, I should stop this.
We should, this isn't a bit. This isn't like.
Well, let's talk about some good news.
Hold on. Can I just tell you one thing from my trip? No, it's a one-liner, and I've been practicing it on Uber drivers all week long, so I think it's pretty tight. How about this? So I went to Nebraska and got in Monday morning. Late flight. Uber driver comes and picks us up, and I get into the car. He's driving a Toyota, so it's got like the cool LCD, and it says what the outside temperature is. And the outside temperature was 1, just the number 1.
Oof.
It was cold. It was really cold. Didn't like it back in LA. It's medium.
Well, that's it. It was cold. The story is that it was cold.
All right, fine. Cut it, Andrew. Cut it. It was a cold week. I was shivering.
I knew I should have stopped it.
Yeah, you should have. But I gotcha.
This week on Crucible Radio, Birds has a real shiver.
Woo!
And Swain has a mental breakdown.
And Swain kills everyone else. Hopefully not.
Push him
later in the show. We will address Bird's returning and how cold he was. I want to talk about the good news, guys. We were looking.
What's that?
We looked at our numbers. We've got a lot of downloads thanks to our listeners.
Oh,
thanks,
true, guys.
How many, Bones?
Well, to skip the nitty gritty, basically we passed in our downloads the 3 million mark. This actually happened.
What?
Couple weeks ago, and I had yet to look at the full total. I normally just follow the week to week, but yeah, and pair that with everyone who has ever stopped by on YouTube via Planet Destiny way back in the day or on our personal channel. It's been really awesome, and I hope those people are still listening and they've subscribed or at least come to our channel. But we've passed 4 million listens, I think, a while ago, and that's like nuts. That's such a number that I never would have conceived of, even even way back when things were looking up and we had Triple Rec on the show and we're like, hey, it's a real thing. Like those numbers far exceed what I had imagined, which is cool.
Listening back to the show so far, I'm thinking right now, how could we possibly trick people to listen to this 3 million times? Maybe it's just that the quality has gone down recently and this is the new normal. Well, out of curiosity, what was our top episode of all time?
So super proud about this, but our most popular episode of all time was episode 100. Which longtime listeners will kind of recall. There was Birds, you used the word earlier, serendipity off mic. That was a good way to describe this.
I chase it like that all the time, by the way.
Yeah,
but only off mic.
Very
here on the show.
Very eloquent.
I am real smart on mic.
Yes, elaborate diction, but you just don't hear it on the episode. But yeah, that word is basically sums it up, because episode 100 was our 100th episode, which is a podcasting achievement regardless. It was the first episode where we got to talk about Destiny 2 because it was following our trip to the reveal event. So that timing worked out great. And it also involved the radio play that we wrote and performed called JV, which I'm like incredibly proud of as its own work of media. So that episode is really cool. But yeah, we have our most individual downloads on that episode alone, which just makes me feel great. It feels like the whole show was for that and it's super worth it. So that's very cool.
Out of curiosity, what is our second most downloaded episode?
Our second most downloaded is episode 69, the sex number. Yeah. Joke aside, that was some great content with our friend Keen Koala, who is a master when it comes to describing the art of staying in cover, moving to and fro, like not just running wildly around the map, but moving with intention. And I think every time he comes on, it really strikes a chord with people. And so that episode was very successful. And then we had other episodes like
hold on.
Okay.
I have an idea. What if we start calling him Keen Kowalski? I don't know why.
Why? You don't know. Okay.
I don't know. But I mean, can I get a second? Can I get a second on this motion?
We'll workshop that. How about that?
Okay.
We put it on the table.
Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah. And then we have another episode with Dr. Lupo, friend of the show, very popular guest. Every time he comes on, we have a really good time. Swain, you're the episode where we labeled it featuring Swain Stash. I forget why. That is our sixth most popular episode.
I think I just asked, like, when you were like going to name that episode, I was like, hey, can I be the guest on this one?
I think you had thought of like a significant enough topic, which was like enough of your doing. You know, it wasn't Birds and I also chiming in. Like, you had a great idea for the show. So we're like, yeah, you should leave that segment. You basically became the guest. So I think it made sense.
Sure.
Where does the Birds episode rank?
The Birds episode, which was 1 hour of just you talking.
Wait, did you say where mine was?
You're sixth.
Woo!
6, yeah.
Slipped out of the top 5. Respect. You were holding a really good spot, but our some more modern episodes.
We need to have me back on.
Yeah, we should.
Fan favorite.
Maybe. We don't know. Yeah. You slipped out. You had number 3 spot for a very long time, but times are changing.
So where's Birds? Like 4, 7?
He's number 19.
Oh, maybe you should stay around more often.
Yeah,
stop traveling. You'd have better episodes.
What percentage is that out of like 135 episodes? That's pretty good.
Hey, man, top 20. I'm on the leaderboard. I'll take it. Assuming your leaderboard contains 20 entries.
Mine goes
starts
to 19.
At 19.
Yeah. Top 19.
Oh. Bottom of the leaderboard.
Hey, Birds,
what's up?
MySpace was still around, you'd be in my top 8.
Oh, thank you, Swain. I would
my top 8
would
was
probably
atrocious.
not be on it. Yeah.
So we talk about that as a segment. Who was on your top 8?
What song was playing on your MySpace?
Oh, fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers for sure.
Again, never had a MySpace, but if I had to take a guess, it would. Are you really that surprised? I don't have an Instagram. Well, actually, I had an Instagram for a minute. It got stolen by Russian hackers, and I just thought, it's fine. It's fine.
I forgot.
They can have it.
I forgot when I got.
But how is this something I missed?
This was absurd. Like I don't think we looked into it enough. So this story is going to sound unbelievable, and if it sounds unbelievable, it could be because it's not true. But I got followed by an Instagram account called Famous Birds. And when I looked at it, thinking that my good friend Famous Birds followed me on Instagram, it was only like Russian porn. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I started to go through the whole process of like how to recover your Instagram account when it gets stolen, and like I couldn't find the link, and it was just like, nope, it's on brand. Yeah. Fine.
It just doesn't make sense because how did it find? I didn't follow that. I didn't follow you. It wasn't like a follow back scenario.
I might have followed you, and
not realizing your account had been compromised.
Yeah, that or I logged in once, followed you, immediately got hacked, and never logged in.
Hey, that's fair. It just means you're not looking at your own, your own profile, because if you're sitting there on Instagram scrolling through your own images, it's a little narcissistic. So you got that going for you.
Hey, I'm not vain.
Yeah, you're narcissistic in all other categories of life, but not on Instagram.
That particular one. Okay.
Plot twist. It's actually birds.
Should we talk about like a little actual Destiny? Let's talk about Destiny.
51 minutes into this recording, sure.
I don't know where we were going, so no. Let's talk about
this. Let's do a little this week in Destiny. A little twid.
Well, I had a little a snapshot I liked in my incredibly out of touch traveling self. I do two things to stay up. I open Twitter and I scroll through what I missed, and then I put my phone away because it's the middle of the meeting and someone just asked me a question. I wasn't paying attention. I got to fake it. And then the other thing I do is try and catch up on Discord, and that just means everything is out of context and I don't understand any of these jokes. But I did see a tweet that I liked, or a tweet series that was a nice little back and forth between Josh Hamrick, Crucible designster. He had tweeted about the TWAB and sort of replying to the update we got from Chris Barrett, and Pope Bear from the Destiny Community Podcast responded and said he wanted to see what Hamrick and his team see as the pain points of the community. And I thought Hamrick hit the nail on the head. I'm looking forward to whatever comes out of this. He said, at the highest level, we want to make you feel more like a god as you're playing the game. I think that will influence all of our decisions, and I believe is what, if you totally condense it all down to a single statement, is what I'm hearing from the community. I thought, like, yeah, that does seem pretty accurate. And then somebody asked, can you talk about the strategy, either in parts or as a whole, that Bungie has devised to reach that goal? And Josh Hamrick replies with a gif of turning up a volume knob. So no, but louder, I guess. So stay tuned. I don't know. That was just sort of, maybe you missed that. Maybe it didn't come across in the TWAB, but I like that summary there, and I like the direction that heads.
Well, the TWAB people were just like, it's kind of like they felt like it was kind of vague. Like they were like, all right, yeah, we're going to do this and this. And I think people were expecting a little bit more details along the way, but I've come to expect we're not going to get details until it's like really close to happening.
Yeah. You got to cook it, writing those checks.
Yeah. I definitely agree. And it's like, it's tough to remember that the TWAB is not it's not an info source. And I feel like it's the nature of doing a weekly blog that like people expect a source, and like, what are you going to do?
I wouldn't want to write something every week like that long.
Yeah, it's tough. And as wonderful it is to see the newfound energy and efforts towards communication, which is, not something to guarantee from a company. It's great to see that, but it's also like they can't. Like, if there is no promises to be made, they can't go out and start promising things. It's dangerous and irresponsible. So I feel like, it's great to see these blog posts and we get all this list of info. We get a little hype, start thinking about Masterwork Armor, but then the people behind it all follow it up with a really cool tweet that just makes me more excited. Like Barrett tweeting about, the sandbox, making snipers and shotguns feel like those awesome powerful, fun weapons, visceral. I think that was better than the whole development update. And the same thing with Hamrick. Like, if you've been playing for a while, a lot of people will remember Hamrick kind of showing up. He'd been behind the scenes, but all of a sudden in year 3, he's like, all right, yeah, let's just talk about some ideas here. And suddenly it was like super engaging and everyone enjoyed hearing from him. So it's cool to see that come back. And he says he's back. He quoted John Wick. He's thinking he's back. So we have more tweets to look forward to.
Yeah. It's nice to see him kind of get back into the swing of things. It felt like he was like, is he more like towards live team? Because it feels that way.
He's sandbox lead right now.
Really?
So
yeah. All right. It just felt like he was like, Destiny 2 dropped and it was like, okay, he's going to do all these things that are coming up.
Yeah. I think safe to say they've been busy as hell.
It is stressful over there.
Yeah.
Well, this week coming back, we've got the Faction Rally, long awaited, and finally got a chance to play this one last night. So yeah, back in the swing. We got another Faction Rally. You guys digging it?
It's interesting. There's some stuff where I feel like
no,
I don't know. It's a weird it's a weird vibe. It's a weird vibe, and I feel like some of that is just like the pure unavoidable like the unavoidable problem you're going to have when you make some big announcement, say like, look forward to 2018, but you still got to do the thing that was scheduled for next week. And that might not, bring with it all those crazy things that you're getting people hyped on. So in that sense that like, it's unavoidable that it's going to be a little odd, a little awkward, but there's some stuff to this one that just makes me less motivated to grind.
Know what it felt like to me, Bones? It felt like the end of Destiny 1.
Well, hold on. Are you specifically dressing Bones right now? Or?
Well, he's talking right now, so I'm talking back to... Oh my God, Fritz. Do I need to teach you how to podcast again?
Yes. Show me how to podcast.
Anyway, it feels like the end of D1, where we had so much coming that I was like really hyper focused on that stuff that's coming up in my head. Mm-hmm. And when I went to go back to the thing I had, I was like, I want those things. Give me those things.
Yeah. Playing Destiny 1 after going to the reveal event was so weird.
Yeah. So I don't know. It felt like that, it's not comparable that the end of Destiny 1 is not Destiny 2. But, amongst all of the other things between real life and interacting with people daily about the game, it was like so much. It was so much just like weighing on you. You're like, I can't thoroughly enjoy this as I thought I would.
Yeah, I think the whole snafu about, season 2 weapons dropping definitely impacted me, changed my approach.
Describe what happened real quick.
Well, basically, like, there was no certain guarantee, but when you see stuff in the armory, which is the online, inventory and stuff, there's all these new weapons for season 2 with each faction. Because faction rallies were actually already delayed, there was this sense of like, all right, about time. Like, let's get some of this new stuff. And as it turns out, the weapons are being added as those last weapons that they sell based on who wins and who loses. So that changes the grind, right? And I think for me and for many others, immediately it was like, oh, okay, I'm not getting new weapons this week. It's just that one at the end of the week. Yeah. And I get why that's frustrating, and it threw me off as well. But I think, like, if I can throw in my own opinion on that, I think that's odd. And I think the three of us all agree that, like, it's more fun to just get lots of stuff during a week that's about getting stuff. And we're not getting lots of stuff.
For a week long event, I just compare it to when you were playing Iron Banner. You were just thoroughly playing Iron Banner, and it was like the one thing. Yeah. And loot was dropping like crazy, and like all you had to do was jump on for a couple hours each night, or even just an hour, and do a couple Iron Banner matches, and you came away with like a bunch of things. Whereas now it's like it's token focused, so you just do everything. And then you come back and you turn in the tokens. and it takes away from that like plethora of loot as you're playing. I think like post game drops is really important to me.
Well, I mean, it's that, and like this is going to sound crazy, but like Banner is its own thing. It's its own playlist. It's a certain game mode. Like it's got a feel to it. This one, like I've been lusting after some of this gear and wanted to unlock my ornaments, and I was like, all right, pledge to my faction. Let's go. What am I doing? Like, it's just quick play and events. And like I was thinking back to the first one where there was the like the hack or whatever, where you grind the weep over and over and over again. And I was thinking about it, it's like, one, you get crazy fast drops that way, but also like, it's a specific activity. Like this is how you do the faction rally. It's different. Like this is the faction rally equivalent of Banner playlist.
It wasn't like the specific event was you running back and forth in the week.
It kind of was for me.
No. It was more so what Netflix show you were watching as you ran back and forth through the week.
Yes. Oh, you were watching me do that, apparently.
It's like Iron Banner, Stranger Things.
Yep. And like the new rewards are cool, but yeah, it's the same gameplay. It's like just a new incentive on the same activity. And like I played for like an hour, played some events, played some Crucible, didn't get to like my first faction rank engram, and was just like, I could not imagine doing that another hour every night, for the rest of this thing, for like one drop or like some shaders. I mean, I got a couple of specific things I want to accomplish, mostly ornament stuff, but yeah.
I think it's funny because it's like, yeah, it's real dumb to spend an hour opening a single chest and getting 300 tokens. That's fucking stupid and not how any loot-based game should play, especially one that's fun to shoot guns.
It's one of those things.
But at the same time, we wanted to like rain stuff. Like make this week just give me all the stuff. Like I'll play every day if it means I get 5 weapons from Future War Cult. That's reasonable. And I think I'll still, then I'll do the ornaments and stuff. And I get that they don't want to just make the first faction rally great and then the third one be pointless, but it's odd. It's definitely odd. And I think the first one's felt good on the account of some glitches. But one thing I have to say though, just my own little suggestion is like, one thing that has struck me as weird since the beginning is the weapons you kind of compete for.
Okay.
There are 3 weapons. They are interesting in their own right, but not entirely unique in terms of how most weapons function in the game. And you get them at the end of the week, or you get them in the next loot pool. Because I just got the sword from New Monarchy, which was like the one to compete for the last faction rally. It's just there now. I think all I want is for that gun to be like real fucking cool. And that's the only time you can get it. And, the 50,000 glimmer, that's kind of a fun thing. But right now, I don't think like any of those guns, I'm not going to say they're worth it. But just imagine like that gold lion on the New Monarchy auto rifle. And that's the only time you can get that gun with this crazy gold lion attachment, right? Like this crazy ornament on this weapon, so to speak. And so anytime you get that kill with that gun, or anyone sees it in the tower and be like, yeah, no, I got that one, and no one will ever get it again. That's cool. It's just like the ornaments really on the gear, that season 2 is over. No one gets the season 2 ornaments again. And anyone else can get that New Monarchy auto rifle, any other faction rally, and it'll work just the same. Doesn't have to totally destroy the sandbox, but mine looks way cooler than yours because I got it then. And I pledged to New Monarchy. And then maybe that's tough because anyone can have 3 characters and just automatically get it by pledging to each. But I don't know. Just make it like a cool gun that's absolutely so desirable, rather than it's a gun you can get now or you can get it later. This is what strikes me as weird.
I mean, I need something more there. Like just the drip, even getting like legendary engrams that turn into, into the same disrespectful stare. Like, I just need some little jingle that happens at the end of an activity that's like, yes, keep doing it. You're getting stuff. It's worth it. Maybe it's not worth it, but it feels worth it. Like, yeah.
So I was just going to say, we talked about it a little bit before we started in the 40 minutes of chatting.
Yeah, the first 40, as we like to call it.
The first 40 where we get it all out. Anyway, we talked about how we think it could benefit, like this is a tease, obviously, but I think we could benefit from just getting it all out in one episode. These like wish lists, the what we want, the feel, because like the best way to express how you want something in a game is to talk about how you feel currently and how you want to feel. And I think we're planning on doing that in the next episode.
Everybody's all like, Crucible Radio thinks everything's great. And we're all like, no, Crucible Radio thinks some things are good and some things are bad. But like, we try to focus on the good stuff. But yeah, I think I agree. We're overdue. We'll have a big one and we'll go down our wish list.
Tell your friends. Tell your friend that stopped listening because they thought we were too posy.
This might just be pandering to ourselves or to you, Swain, which is dumb. Like, we don't need to tell each other that we like each other and how we think. But your tweet, actually, I didn't see it until today. And you had posted it during the work week. But, you kind of state like, it's not great for us when a lot of people don't like Destiny. Like, it's not cool that we stay the only people playing a game. Not even to say that that's even true right now. It makes it so much
easier when we play more and more people play more and they want to come on the show and talk about how they're currently playing. Yeah. It's so much easier. And it's so much easier when there's a ton of like your favorite streamers or your favorite YouTubers playing, because then we can have them on. And we don't have to talk for half of the episode.
We don't live in the world where we're sitting here like, in the future, only 3 people will play in the Crucible and it'll just be us. We want the game to be like how we want it. Like, that's insane. So no, we don't do that. But it's funny, but I think it's also fair. That's like, hey, we can be honest with our listeners. Like, we got also, ideas.
I think we're pretty good at expressing ourselves without getting upset.
Yeah, and but to that extent, we're never going to abandon the idea that this show is about improving, and you cannot improve by dreaming of a made-up video game that you created and designed in your head.
You're some sort of magical being who can think on different like levels and different dimensions where you're like, oh yeah, I'm living in a world where the Crucible is all solo.
God, can I just say, if I could like switch between alternate dimensions because I'm a magical being, I'm switching for sure right away, and it has nothing to do with Destiny. But that's maybe a separate podcast right there. A shout out this week to our sponsor, Netflix.
Whoa, Netflix.
Netflix. Thank you for joining the family, Netflix. We get to tell you guys about a brand new show. Support for this podcast is brought to you by Netflix's new original series, Altered Carbon. What does it mean to truly live forever?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Wait, am I living forever in a really old person's body?
Yeah. I was talking with my boss about this. I work in healthcare or adjacent to healthcare. And my boss, who like knows everything, he's like, oh yeah, your generation, you guys are going to live to be 150. And I was telling him like, yeah, like we might, but probably the last 70 years are going to be like, my bones are hollow now. I have to float in a tank of gel. I mean, I'm 130, but yeah. I would love, like, if I could like live on in a computer and just like not have to
an exo.
Like, yeah, right.
Anyway,
like put me in something. I would love to see what happens.
Well, we don't quite know the answer, but you know who's thought about it more is Richard K. Morgan, who wrote a novel.
That's what I was going to say.
That's right. Altered Carbon is a hard-boiled detective noir set 300 years in the future.
I'm just imagining The detective is a hard-boiled egg.
Well, it's not. It's tough and it's gritty, and it's set in Bay City or modern day San Francisco, and it presents a visually stunning and tech-obsessed world wherein society has been transformed by technological advances in immortality. And honestly, when you say that, it doesn't sound that crazy or far off. But a human being's mind can now be digitized and downloaded into a cortical stack at the base of the brain,
bro.
So
That's what I want. That's what I want.
Bodies known as sleeves are interchangeable. Right? That's like, it's creepy, and two, it implies that it's dangerous.
I don't like wearing sleeves.
Yeah,
but you have sleeve tattoos.
Yeah, kind of a weird choice, don't you think, Swain?
Yeah, now who sounds dumb now, Swain?
Well, I actually have really expensive sleeves, so I decide not to wear the cheap sleeves over them.
Okay, so we're fine. No cheap sleeves for Swain. And if that's how it goes down in the future, that's how it's going to be. And for those rich enough to make copies themselves, death is no longer a given because they're just walking around in the most expensive sleeves. I would want a nice mid-range sleeve because I'm going to be honest, I drop my phone every day and the screen is cracked. And I want to be able to bang it up a little bit and get a new one,
You guys joke, but this is some heavy stuff. That's kind of it's got me very intrigued because think about it. I mean, you can have eternal life.
Do the sleeves are they different body shapes? Do I have this really small head on a really big body? I don't know.
You can just be any ideal person, and that's scary.
Can I be a tentacle person?
You know what? If you want, as long as you're rich enough, because this eternal life only exists to those who can afford it, which means eternal control for those who can't. But nobody lives forever. Honestly, I'm super intrigued to see this show. I think it's asking a crazy question. Altered Carbon begins streaming February 2nd, only on Netflix. You got to check this one out.
Check it out. Altered Carbon, February 2nd, only on Netflix. Let's talk about what we're doing in the world of gaming.
With our sleeves.
Okay. Or not with our sleeves. Both sleeve and non-sleeve based topics. So, end of it all.
What have we been up to?
Not feeling this faction rally. But that doesn't mean there's nothing.
Not gaming.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you can't have fun playing games. We've done these a couple times, and I always like them. They always make me real thoughtful. But at times like this, we figure out how to make our own fun. And the best way to do that is to focus on getting better, focus on practicing, so when the new challenge comes around, you're ready to go. And this is a little segment we like to call Top 3. Drop the beat. This is the top 3 things we're working on, the top 3 things we're trying to improve, or just what's inspiring us right now in the world of gaming. I got one.
Do it.
Kick us off.
So I have been on the road for 20 out of the last 24 days, not playing any video games, and finally got in last night. Wanted to play a little Destiny, and you come back, you got the rush shaken off, but I got to thinking okay, mechanically I'm going to be a little rusty. You just don't pick up a controller for that long. It adds up. I just realized my math was wrong. It was 10 out of the last 12 days, not 20 out of the last 24. 2 weeks. It's long enough. But what I realized is that the mental part, the things that I'm working on, the thinking and the strategy and the thing you have going on in your head during the game, that doesn't fade. That's just how quick before you start remembering these things. And a lot of times I'll come back, I'm rusty, and I just go have the worst Crucible match of my life because it's oh, right, I did all of those things. Even if I was landing my shots or not, oh, right, I died a whole bunch, and it was because reasons that had nothing to do with my aim, just poor decision making. Actually, we mentioned up top that King Koala interview about staying undercover, pushing into cover, moving from cover to cover. And so when I was playing that quick play match, that first quick play match back in, I wasn't expecting, put up a ton of kills or whatever, or, get more than a lot of assists. But I was really focusing on map positioning. Like, what am I doing right now? Why am I standing here? Should I be somewhere else? Where are my teammates? Am I running out or am I peeking? Am I going to do a push that's just like wandering out into the middle of the open, or am I going to push into cover? And I had a remarkably better first game back. So I think that's what I'm trying to do. You play less, you got to make the games count more. And so I'm trying to keep that psychological stuff, keep it simple, keep it top of mind. It doesn't have to be this like perfect flow state you don't understand. It's just, hey, don't die for stupid reasons. Stay focused, work with your team. And I think that's something that was relevant to me now, but should really apply to every Crucible match I play. So that's what I'm thinking about. That's my number one.
Well, you've returned to a game, Birds, and so have I. But it's not the game you're thinking about.
Oh, is it the other game I'm thinking about?
Yeah, the one this is going to get real expensive. The jar is going to be very full.
Should donate some of this money.
I thought we were going to have a pizza party or something.
Oh, yeah.
Pizza. Anyway, I also returned to a game, and it was Overwatch. Now, I'm going to just pull out my wallet real quick. Here's my card. It's been really on my mind because of Overwatch League. If you're not familiar, it is essentially, it feels like the NFL. You got your teams. I've got my own personal team from Philly, and it's so fun to watch. And it's the first esports that I've been really getting into. And it was, like with most things of that nature, you're like, oh man, I want to go play that right now. As soon as you finish, you're like, yeah, I'm really feeling it. So I decided to jump back in on PS4 this week and just kind of feel things out. It's been a while. I haven't played since August, since pretty much when Destiny 2 dropped. That's the only video game I played. I think I logged on to Overwatch once to get some skins for Halloween. I needed the Farah skin. Anyway, so I haven't played in a while. I was feeling a bit rusty, and I was trying to figure out what to jump back into, because a lot of times when you jump back in, a lot of things changed in the time between then and now. So you'll have situations where the meta could possibly change, or things are added to your game, and you can really take this into whatever. It's very similar for any game that you really enjoy playing. How do you comfortably jump back in? That's what I've been focusing on. What's the easiest way for me to get reacquainted with my thumb skill, with certain characters? Or when I returned to Destiny, it was always just all right, well, what's my favorite weapon again? Controlling recoil. There's all sorts of subtle things that you kind of have to get your brain going and kind of get it all together and start moving towards being as consistent as you once were. So that's what I've been focusing on, and just kind of thinking about it on a higher level. For when I do go back to that Destiny, when I next play it, or next week, or whenever I go and play it again, I'll do that with Destiny. So
yeah, the quick ramp up, it's a skill in its own.
And short sessions helps that. You don't play for a long time, you're like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, that was, I'm reminded, I want to say it was an MTashed video from a couple years back, but he was talking about specific improvement. And he had said something in there, and sorry, Tash, if I'm misquoting you. But it was have focused gameplay, review your matches, and if you really want to improve, play 4 days a week. Don't play every single night. Don't just do the crazy grind. If you really want to get better, really pick your play sessions and make them count. And that's perfect for someone who has very little time. But that's that skill, man. All right, Bones, what do you think? Number one.
Okay. So I'm working on a few things in games. This applies to shooters, but in Destiny, I notice it happens. And it's kind of funny because it's like a brag that ends up being a problem. So I guess a double-edged sword. But one thing that happens to me is I end up getting isolated. And this happens to me more in quick play than it does in trials. And I think it's a big part of why I like trials, because that objective style and that slower chess game pace, really plays to my strengths. Because one of my strengths is finding the enemy and locating them and knowing where they'll be, where they're coming from, what they might choose to do. Like, I think I've worked on that over the past couple of years and gotten really good at it, which is, okay, we just had this big conflict over here on A. They're going to spawn over here. They've been playing here a lot, or maybe they see power ammo spawning over there. I have that sort of view of the whole board, and I've really, really focused on knowing that because, like I've said in the past, it's not, my reaction time is not awesome. I have to, predict if I want to win a fight. But I think what happens sometimes is that I get so focused on that and I go and find them and I find them so quickly. And here's why I'm bragging, is that I'm so good at finding them and knowing where they're spawning that I'm there and my team is just not, because it's not the flow of the game. And I'm not really accounting for that fact. And I, with 4 people of all me playing, we'd be so good because we'd all be there, but we're not. It's just not how it works. And other people are either spawning up at different times, or took a different approach. Maybe they thought about a flank. Maybe they just didn't know and just sort of went to a different spot. So I end up in these positions where I'm like, I'm alive. I didn't die. I knew they were here. I was shooting at them from a flank. What the heck? And then there's 3 guys collapsing on me because I'm the last one alive. And that's, in the moment I look at that and I go, oh, my teammates just, they didn't know where to go, right? Like I very quickly sort of write it off as this issue of, my teammates weren't as on top of things as I was. But when it comes down to it, it's not great if I just keep doing that forever and I don't play according to how my team is playing. So one thing I'm really trying to work on is just realizing, like, I can find the fight really quickly, but it's not going to help if I'm charging in and there's just no one else near me, or if I'm finding 3 of them and my team has decided to go take B. So that's something I'm working on. It's just like, moving with the flow. I'm not trying to hold hands with anyone. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not being an idiot and thinking that I'm so smart for going where all of the enemy has already decided to go to. So that's what I'm working on.
Yeah, I guess I'll echo a little bit of that from my second one. I was reading someone on Twitter. I'm the lack of attribution birds this week. But somebody had described sort of the current Crucible, in response to D1, as a more tactical shooter, right? It's about real strong 4v4 coordinated team play. And then I read that Hamrick tweet about how they really want to ramp up what one player going off can do. And I mean, that's going to move us away a little bit from what tactical play means. But that word has kind of been sticking with me. And so that's been a real source of kind of focus in what I'm working on. And so thinking about, like, what does a tactical team do? Like you say, it's Bones. Like, I think the first thing is that you're working with your team, right? You're positioning yourself around your teammates. It means that you're not going to get every kill. And that's, definitely more so for me than for some players. But thinking about, look, I got that guy down to 80%. I am about to die myself. I need to pull back into cover and not be greedy. And I'm probably going to miss the end of this fight. And that's okay. I can get ready for the next one, but let it go. The team's doing the work. They're picking up from the handoff I made. Time to go get into a new position. I guess sort of the same thing, but specifically thinking about, what does tactics look like if you really play with your team? And especially if you're playing with 3 strangers because you're playing solo queue. And I've started noticing that the Destiny community, I think, is really leveled up in that regard. Like, people are automatically, without communicating, doing something they never did in D1, which is positioning around their teammates a lot better. And even little handoffs. Like, I had a guy who was running with me to go pick up power. We both got there. And then he went and ran up and turned around and shot the power ammo a couple times to say, like, oh, you get it. And I picked it up. And then he was the distraction while I got my shotgun kills. And that was a really inspiring moment that I got to give credit. Like, that's a new thing in Destiny. I don't want that to go away. And so I want to sort of enjoy that aspect of this meta right now before it shifts into something, a little more wild, a little more hero based.
Speaking of heroes.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah, tell me.
I'm a hero. No, it's the way I'm going back in Overwatch though, and approaching it from a different angle of someone who hasn't played and doesn't have the motor skills on deck like I did. This can obviously apply to Destiny too, but if you're coming back and you haven't played for a while, it's the best time to try something new, because you're going to be able to take advantage of maybe some new meta, or maybe it's something that you like thought about trying before. It's a new weapon or a new hero. For me in Overwatch, it was, okay, I haven't played in a while. Let me try a different hero. Someone that I really was interested in playing before, and now I want to try it and come at it with fresh eyes and learn it as I'm also readjusting my gaming from one game to another. So,
all right. What is it? Who you playing?
It's D.Va.
D.Va?
I am so obsessed with Poco from the Philly Fusion and his ability to put like the D.Va bombs anywhere he wants on the map. He gets he's I think it was 4 times as many D.Va bomb kills as the next highest person in Overwatch League who plays D.Va. I don't know. He inspired me, and I've always wanted to play D.Va more. So it was about time I switched over and played D.Va. Obviously played the tried and trues to do my placements and all that, but it was fun. It's fun, and it adds another, would it be notch in my belt? No.
Yeah, it could be a belt notch.
Sure.
I'm curious, sorry, everybody who doesn't play Overwatch, but come on, get with it. It's a fun game.
We're just watching.
It's very popular.
I mean, D.Va's got a very specific kind of role. Do you find yourself sort of working on any new mechanics that you weren't exposed to before?
Sure. I mean, I think the way I played Overwatch for the longest time was very offensive and healing. So I focused on 2 sides of things. It wasn't I could do those 2 things kind of well, but there's 4 categories. And I felt like I wasn't taking advantage of the middle 2, which is your shields and what's the other one? Defense? Anyway, I felt like I wasn't taking advantage of it all. So D.Va added that tank that I've always wanted to incorporate. And she's got a shield, but she's not, as shieldy as Reinhardt, obviously. But she can absorb some stuff. So there's definitely some skill required, and lots of different aspects you can use D.Va. Still learning things, and it's not necessarily my best hero, but I had some fun, and I'm going to give it more time and add it to my belt.
Awesome.
D.Va plays
try new things.
D.Va plays like a Titan, where you realize you can just be aggressive and get in people's faces, and
yeah, that's definitely something
you die
I've realized.
Sometimes, but you really ruin people's days when you can really break up a fight.
All right, Bones, give me another.
Okay, so another game thing I'm working on, especially in Destiny, is my close quarters. My CQC in Destiny. I realized I've been doing this more because, some of my favorite weapons are really close range guns. 900 RPM SMGs. My favorite gun is still the Iron Banner sidearm Fool's Remedy that no one else uses. And yeah, I'm kind of enjoying using stuff that is just purposefully off meta, but I think it throws people off, and I think it can be a game changer. And I'm realizing that's where that's where I have a lot of room to improve my skill, because, sometimes I realize it comes down to a duel with an auto rifle or a pulse rifle at mid range. That's a matter of, did I start shooting first? If not, I should consider backing out of this engagement. Mm-hmm. Maybe I can win. Maybe they duck and I die. I don't know. That's not really something that I'm, so focused on in terms of my skill. I'll never be this perfect shot that lands every bullet like some players. So I just got to accept that, like, I disengage in more fights. But where I can get better is my CQC, where I decide, okay, I've done enough damage. It's time to melee. Oh, they meleeed me too fast. Yeah. I clearly should have done that faster. Like, that happens to me a lot. And part of it comes with playing different classes. Like, how much do I rely on the burn from a Dawnblade or a Sunbreaker melee? I punched them once and they're clearly burning, but I want to make sure I finish them off. Or, when can I count on them to die versus survive that burn? So I think there's a lot of up close stuff that I could really improve upon, and it comes down with timing and reaction time, and it's good practice. But I've been having fun. I had a lot of fun time on Titan this week. I played a little bit more Striker than I usually do because I like that bottom skill tree on Striker with the health back from melee. I think it's an underrated thing, and I think now that arc bolts have been, or arc grenades have dialed down just a little bit, you no longer need to automatically run top tree with 2 grenades. So it's a fun way to play. I think it's the most exciting thing for me in Destiny 2 right now. Maybe above all is that I really, really enjoy that sort of gameplay, which is like getting up close, using movement, floating around, punching people with syntheseps or air dodging or stuff like that. So it's more fun. Yeah, it's more fun for me right now, and I'm going to work on it rather than you started shooting at me with a pulse rifle from long range before I started shooting at you. Therefore, you win the fight, which is something I just got to get used to disengaging on.
I saw a clip from Dan the other day. He was playing Night Stalker, and there was another hunter with Quick Fang that was trying to close on him. And he just does these like perfect jumps straight up and look down at his feet and is just like pecking at the guy with his hand cannon. They end up trading. It's very satisfying. And like watching that, I was like, oh my God, look how good that like super close right underneath you vertical CQC is going. I am kind of jealous of mouse and keyboard. I wish I could get good at it. That's impressive.
CQC could be even more important when you are more powerful. Like they say they want to make you.
Yeah. Yeah. Make that melee count. All right. Well, for this last one, just every week, we talk to each other and we get inspired. And I think if you're bored doing what you're doing right now, there's no better antidote to that than getting creative and making something new. And I'm psyched that we've all got like something new in coming down the pipes.
Can I tell you about something creative that I just got and I'm super into, and I can't wait to explore it.
Okay, this won't be your third thing that you're working on.
It's not, but this is a little thing.
Okay, go for it.
I just got a bullet journal. Do you know what that is?
Is that like one of those bullet blenders, except
you
talk about your day?
But you take it out and use it like a cup. No, it's essentially like a moleskin. It's a notebook, but instead of lines, it's got like dot bullets, so you can create your own lines or you can create boxes, and it's like this like do it yourself like extreme notebook. It can be whatever you want because you can create the things. So I've gone deep into a hole of learning the best ways to do that. So I'm going to create my own bullet journal, to-do list, monthly planner, all together in one.
Can I say my first reaction to that is like, that is the most like Silicon Valley. I was like, oh, it's a tiny book, but it's got dots instead of lines. And at the same time thinking, oh my God, that looks so cool. This is going to change everything. When do I get one?
I want that.
Birds, I'll send you some links and you'll fall down.
I'm on links, man. That reminds me of, I don't know if y'all read like Getting Things Done, which is a great book about like how to be productive at work. And I forget. It was called like the Hipster PDA or something, like the personal digital organizer. But instead of like an app or anything else, it's just a stack of note cards and a binder clip and a pen that you keep in your pocket. Because like, look, when you got an idea and you want to write it down, just write it down. Putting it into an app is too slow. But a book with dots, come on, man.
Man, that's my problem. Is like, yeah, of course I've got a phone, but like I love writing.
Yes,
it helps me remember.
Yep, and it makes you choose because you gotta in 3 words pick those right 3 words and really capture it.
All right, what are we creating outside of bullet journals?
Yeah, well, we'll get some. But Bonesy, how about you're working on a thing, man? Tell us about this.
I am working on a thing. Okay,
I don't know if you're ready to talk about it yet.
You know, I'm not quite, but I want
Mentally?
to. Like it's exciting. In the sense that it's not ready yet is really where I'm at. But I want to talk about it. So yeah, I'm starting a new podcast.
What? Does that mean you're finally going to leave this one?
What do you mean finally? What the fuck?
I mean, does that mean that you might leave this one?
No, I'm not leaving this podcast or have no plans to unless Bird says more of that garbage. No, I'm starting a new one that's going to, be another show that I do on a weekly basis. And the purpose of the show is to just talk about more stuff, more real stuff, more slick stuff, more raw stuff.
Yeah, I'm having. Well, it seems a little vague, a little open ended. But okay.
I had to say that, but no, it's a new show. It's with a friend of the show, Dan, and I think that's all he goes by and will go by. He's just Dan on the internet.
Do you call him something else? And be like, hey, I mentioned it on the Crucible Radio podcast.
It's your new nickname.
You got to be that name now, buddy.
Yeah, I'll let him decide if he's changing his vibe at all.
How about like Smark? Like a mashup of Sam
Mark
and Mark. Two unrelated things that don't relate to him. Yeah, maybe that mashup will appeal to him. I don't know. Ask him. But anyways,
you're making up the name. It's up to you.
This show is called Gaming in Hell. And if that sounds pessimistic, it's because it is.
Whatever could you be talking about?
It's about gaming, but it's about more than that. It's about the internet. It's about internet culture. And yeah, it's snarky and everything like that, but it's about the world we live in, which is this crazy, crazy world on the internet where there are no consequences. Anything can happen. There's anonymity. There's something weird every day. And there's articles about it and there's threads about it. And there's just so much going on. And we just want a venue to talk about what we find to be problematic, what we find to be funny, what we find to be just so completely ridiculous. And I hope to hit on some issues that sort of, they hit the gaming community and the internet and the community and the social media really hard. But with all of the craziness, it's hard to really focus on what's happening and why. So we just want to talk about that. But yeah, we'll talk about video games too, because that's what we do the most. The two of us is play lots of video games. So we'll talk about gaming addiction. It's a real thing. Probably impacts us more than we want to ever admit. Talk about fandom, how it can get real gross and out of control. Talk about language, how people talk to each other on the internet, and other fun, sure to be controversial things. So I'm sure plenty of Twitter fights will result in it. Hopefully not. But either way, I'm really excited to dive in. I want to so badly just talk about the things I see on the internet, and my perspective is limited. So we'll have guests on that will cover all sorts of backgrounds and perspectives, which I'm super excited to do as well, which is just have a wide variety of people on the show. And maybe you guys can have a spot. Who knows?
Yay. I'm excited. I mean, I
can I be called Smark?
Sure. Yeah. If you want to.
Featuring Smark.
It'll be your most downloaded episode. I can guarantee.
Yeah, featuring Smark.
It'll be the 6th most down. Sorry.
I'm sure that's very possible since it doesn't have any episodes yet. You could be when the 6th episode comes out, you can be on that one. It'll be our least popular.
Oh, it's guaranteed. I guess I'm coming on episode number 19.
Yep.
No, I think that's cool, man. I like you and I like Dan, and I think you guys have got good thoughts on stuff. And yeah, it's weird to be a gamer, but to have that word mean some crazy, crazy things, and to know that like there's a medical middle ground of like people who enjoy it and see it all. But yeah, you don't have to like or you don't think every bit of it is okay, because some of it's weird and uncomfortable.
Yeah, and literally you calling me a gamer is me going like,
ugh. Yeah, right.
Why is that?
I play games, but
don't call me a game. Like, why do I feel that way? What is that feeling? It's not wrong, but it feels weird. And what does it mean? And other people are going to hear that and think a whole variety of things about me by just saying that. And that's exactly what I really want to try to dive into on the show. And, I don't want to talk about fucking Overwatch without paying $1 every time.
I decided I don't want to be Smark. Dan can be Smark. I want to be Justin on that.
Swain, I'm going to break it to you right now. Dan is probably Justin. Not going to be Smark.
You don't know that.
My co-host on this podcast, day one, will probably opt out of being known as Smark. I'm just going to let you know.
Well, he's got 6 episodes to warm up to.
He can decide by that. Yeah, what are you guys working on, bunch of assholes?
Call me Smark.
Well, I've been, as these things go, I've been working on something in my head for a long time that feels like it's ready to emerge into the world. But probably, this is a good time to announce that on Crucible Radio, we are doing something we've done once before, and that turned out real interesting. And that's to do another round of solo episodes where it's not all us together chatting each week, or 2 of us chatting and then interviewing the other one, but us having a full episode to sort of do explore the episode we want to do. Yeah, do a birdsy thing, do a Swainy thing. And so
because gaming and getting better at things isn't always so broad like we do it. It's really, I have a topic I want to, and Birds has a topic he wants to address.
It's
I guess Bones too.
Yeah, maybe.
It's, every person who plays games has a different experience. So certainly plan to go there. Anyways, I decided what I want to do for my one. I was writing the Birds episode 2, where I meticulously quote things from the internet and say like, you just contradicting yourself, but like, no, okay, that's bad. I got something else I want to talk about, and it's bigger than gaming. It's just about me thinking about, I'm like at that point in my life. I'm in my early 30s. I'm sort of transitioning. I'm trying to figure out like how to be a good grown up, and what kind of philosophy a person can have that's real and it's applicable to modern day life, and it affects you every day. And I find I've just been inspired by certain things that I read or that I see that really stay with me. So I want to talk about it. I want to share a couple quotes from things that have stuck with me for a long time. And for me, there's really one that's more important than anything else. I read a book called Parable of the Sower by an author named Octavia Butler, and it's a great book. It's a I don't say sci-fi, but sort of near future fiction about the slow decline of the fall of mankind and how things get bad and all of our checks come due. But inside of that book, the main character writes a book. She writes a short book of these little phrases, and as I read these for the first time, it was like hearing something that was unformed in my head that I kind of understood on some level, but perfectly set to words and just crystallized for me the moment I read it. And ever since I read this book, must have been a year ago, I've not been able to stop thinking about it on an almost daily basis. And so I want to talk about it and sort of how I've tried to apply it to my life. And so I'll have a little teaser. This book inside the book is called The Book of the Living, and it's a bunch of short, like proverbs or something. I want to read one that I like and that the more I think about, the more I realize. This is number 32, Your Teachers. Your teachers are all around you. All that you perceive, all that you experience, all that is given to you or taken from you, all that you love or hate, need or fear will teach you if you will learn. God is your first and your last teacher. God is your harshest teacher, subtle, demanding, learn or die. And like, it's not a religious thing or anything else. It just hit me in the nuts, the philosophical nuts. And I started looking at the experiences day to day that I have and see how long it takes for me to get the wisdom out of them. So there's 65 more of these, and I want to share a couple and talk about how they pulled a little bit of life into focus for me and how I'm trying to live different. So I'm going to do the first episode of that as my birds episode. Not sure what it's going to be or how it's going to work or what I'm going to call it, but I got something to say there. So hopefully you'll listen and enjoy.
Sounds great. I went to the bathroom during that segment, but I can't wait to hear it.
Okay. Fair enough. Hey, look, if there's one thing I've learned about me, not for everybody. I get
well,
it.
Hey,
it's a
thank
lot
God
for
that
me.
we talk outside of this one recording once a week, so I actually know what it's about, and it does sound interesting.
Okay. We got a birds episode brewing. We got a bones pod episode brewing.
Dry Pod 81.
Terrible. Swain.
Smark?
Smark Justin. Justin Smark. What's the Swain episode going to be? What are you cooking up?
So we did something similar to this a little while ago where we talked about meditation. But my whole world lately has been revolving around, and it's actually my 2018 word of the year. And happiness, it ends up coming from all sorts of different areas, but it really involves your mental, obviously your mental state and how you approach things from different angles, or you learn to, not let things get the best of you in certain situations. And I feel like that applies to a lot of areas in gaming. So I'm going to have a guest on mine, and his name is sports psychologist Steve. Yeah, we haven't had Steve on in a while, and I feel like if we can condense a lot of sports psychology and mindfulness and how that, transfers into video games and into your personal life as a whole, I think it would be a really good episode that we can always just point to and be like, hey, this is the one to listen to if you're interested in that sort of thing. So I have a lot of questions I want to ask Steve. I really want to go over the whole, run the gamut of topics that he is really interested in and make it really, really legit episode with Steve. It's going to be good.
Yeah, that sounds like one I'm going to listen to a couple times. I need a little more Steve wisdom in my life.
Yeah, I'm real excited and been talking back and forth, got some ideas going. So
can't wait.
If you have anything you want to hear on that episode, hit me up on Twitter. Let me know.
Well, it's exciting, guys. We got good stuff to look forward to on the show. I'll do a solo episode. Who knows what it will include? Pure chaos, maybe?
Yeah, I always enjoy the Bone solo segments that are like that perfect blend of like last minute panic channeled directly into improvised flailing that actually kind of turns out pretty good.
Yeah.
It's going to be, since we're not on each other's episodes, when Bones is doing his, I'm going to be like relaxing, knowing, like just sitting back in my chair, be like, I know Bones is trying to fill his hour.
He's figuring something out.
He just remembered Saturday night.
Yep. Hey, but that's where I thrive, baby. It's where the improviser in me gets to let loose.
I've seen it.
What's your improviser inside of you named?
That's not how it works, man. We don't play.
I'm
just myself. Smark. It's named Smark.
That's not...
To recall a joke from earlier.
I have to be honest, Bones. That's not the best improvisation. You could have come up with a better name than Smark.
It's a fucking callback. Don't tell me.
You're a greengrocer. Go.
I heard pineapple. I heard pineapple in the audience. I'll do that. I'll do a scene about pineapple. I'll do an episode of podcast about pineapple.
Oh, maybe you could do
pineapple.
A
Makes me think
show.
of a time where.
Know how earlier? Well, I'm gonna do a call back here, Bones. Know how earlier I was talking about how I should get better.
Start with, you know how when earlier you said that.
I said I should learn how to end things for us.
Yeah.
I'm going to end this podcast for us.
Oh, you're doing it right now?
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Look out for Gaming in Hell coming to an RSS feed near you. We'll tell you again on this show for sure.
It's actually just a newsletter.
Oh, did I say it was a podcast? It's a Tumblr.
Gaming in Hell with Bones and Smark.
Just me posting memes on Tumblr. That's all it is.
You'll find it in the back page of your weekly Trader Joe's circular.
Next week we're gonna do our Bungo Please episode, and we got some solo episodes coming up. So we got a lot of content coming your way, guys. So
content, baby.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter and all of that. You know, all sorts of fun places on the internet. CrucibleRadio.com. Become a patron. Go to patreon.com/CrucibleRadio.
If you wonder what we get up to in those first 40 minutes,
it's over. Yeah, we have outtakes from episodes.
Oh, these are going to be good.
The 40 minutes of this episode probably could be its own episode of the extra podcast we do. So check it out. Patreon.com/CrucibleRadio. I think that's it. We're done.
All right. Love you
Peace.
guys. Bye.
Bye.
Music this week from Demian Johnston, a friend of the show. This is his band, 9 Iron Spitfire. You can find him at twitter.com/Demian Johnston or at 9ironspitfire.bandcamp.com. As always, if you're a musician, we want to hear your music. We'd love to play it on the show. Make it happen. Just send us a couple tracks. It's crucibleradio@gmail.com.
Hello everyone, Swain here. You know that Crucible Radio is your source for all things Destiny PvP, and I know you want more than just this video, so make sure to head on over to crucibleradio.com to find all of our past episodes, detailed Crucible maps, t-shirts, and much, much more.